it's Sandy Parker. Welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Well, today I'm really excited because I'm going to be doing a recipe box for our niece who's getting married. This is her invitation, and she told me the colors, and I really like this Home Sweet Home pattern from Graphic 45. So I thought I would cover the box in that, and then this is Lucky Limeade. It's going to be the background. I thought it perfectly matched that towel, and that's going to be the background for the whole box. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get our box out of the way. Well, actually I'm going to leave the box in the way, because the first thing I want to do is I'm going to distress the box with some Lucky Limeade on the corners. I thought that would make sense, because you never can get your paper right to the edges. I'm not exactly sure how easy this is going to be to do, but I figured we'll give it a shot, right? And I wanted to make sure that, obviously this is all going to be covered with paper. It didn't cover right there. That's kind of weird. Looks like they glue or something on it. Anyway, I'm distressing the edges because I wanted to make sure that where there isn't paper, it still will match the paper that's on it. That made total sense, didn't it? Anyway, that's the project. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this, because you've seen distressing before, but that's the first step. Okay, so I covered all of the backs of my papers with tear tape. It was, if you watch the haul video that I just did, I showed you that I bought some tear tape off of eBay from China, and in case you're wondering how sticky it is serious. It's really adhered to this. And I have a viewer, Sue, who told me that if you put a little bit of glue stick on the back of anything that you're adhering with tear tape, that it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And I found when I did that puppy album, couldn't remember the name of it for a second, that gave me some wiggle room time as well. So I'm using that wiggle room, hopefully, with wet glue. Oh, that's what I meant to tell you, is that when you use wet glue with it, it also lets you move it a little bit. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm putting a little bit of wet glue on here so that I hopefully have a little bit of wiggle room on there. That one's a little bit to the right, but I guess I'm going to live with it. And like I said, I did all of my papers so you wouldn't have to sit through that, but I think what I'm going to do is have Rich fast forward. Oh, before I do that, I want to tell you that I got this box through eBay, and it's from a company called Close to My Heart. I'm not sure if they still make them anymore, but they are specifically for recovering with paper, and I really I like that idea. Our niece has asked everybody that's coming to her bridal shower to bring their favorite recipe with them, and so I volunteered to make her recipe box, and I hope she likes it. But that's it's not that I'm just randomly making a recipe box for her. I decided that if she wanted this, I would do it for her, and she was very gracious and said, sure, you can make it for me. And that was my new pokey tool that I just bought at the stamp show I just went to. I'm going to stand up for this one because I want to make sure I get it centered on the end. And before I lay it down, I want to make sure it's kind of in the right spot, if I can do it. So I'm going to have Rich fast forward through this part so you don't have to watch this painfully long me taking off tear tape. And okay, so I have all of my green on, and the pattern that I picked for the sides of the box is this blue pattern, and I've already put the tear tape on it. And in case you missed the thing where I talked about a way to make tear tape so it's easier to work with, one of my friends Sue told me that you can put glue stick on, and I thought that was a good idea, but I use a little bit of, whoa, wrong one. I use a little bit of the Tombow Mono Aqua because it gives me that little wiggle room that I need, and it works. I mean, it works well for me, and I like that. I like anything that is simple and makes it so something like tear tape isn't a horrible, horrible, scary mess for me. So that's what I did. I also went around the edges of this. I hope I'm in the, oh no, I'm not even in the thing. Jeez, I'm sorry. I also went around the edges of this with the Lucky Limeade from Stampin' Up. But as in all things, can't be perfect. You can try, but I don't think that you'll ever accomplish it. And I know I won't. Keep in mind, these are just the layers. I'm layering this up. The box is clearly not going to look like this when it's done. It's not going to be a blue and green box. It's going to have all kinds of other pattern papers and embellishments, and it's going to be really fun and cute. And I made these shorter on purpose because I wanted to make sure that the box would close, and I wasn't sure if I put a lot of bulk in there if it would. So that was what I was thinking. And then the very last one is this. And then we'll be on to the next stage. I had some trouble getting the, see how easy that was to get up with that tear tape? It's because of that glue. Anyway, I had some trouble with getting the ink to stick to this. And I'm not really sure why. Not all the places, just in a couple spots. I'm not sure why that was, but I'm going to have to figure out how to cover that up. So that's where we stand right now with our box. Okay, so I fussy cut out the Home Sweet Home. I'm going to have to move it over a little bit and probably a little out of the camera so I can make sure I can see it's not glued down there, or not, the magnet wasn't holding there, so I want to make sure I get this straight and kind of as high as I can. I fussy cut out a lot of different components to this because it's too wide and too long for the whole piece to be on the front, so I had to play with it a lot to get it to work. So let's hope I can do this. I'm going to have to do it line up from this side. Hopefully it'll work. So that's that piece. Of making sure that she goes exactly where she needs to be, and she's going, I'm lining her up with the bottom, and I'm going to try to line her up first and then glue her down after. I have to make sure her elbow is exactly right. I think her elbow is pretty close, but not exactly, so I'm going to move it over just a little bit. Just a titch. And then I'm going to glue the bottom on. I have this little strip that I glued everything else with both tear tape and tacky glue, but this is just going to be tacky glued on. And I want to make sure that she's stuck on there really good first, and then I'm going to attach the strip over the bottom of her. Close enough, pretty close. Make sure her Country Life banner is right, and that looks good as well. Okay, on to the next page. You can't see the bottom, sorry. Country Gentleman right there. Hopefully he'll lay okay with the flowers. I'm putting these flowers under or over him, and hopefully he will not be completely covered by flowers. It's my goal anyway. I'm trying to fill that space but not overwhelm it, if that makes any sense. And I'm doing the tacky glue and the tear tape again because I don't want this to come up, and I'm afraid that it might because it is so there's so many components of this leafy or this flowery piece. Okay, let's see if I can shove our flowers in at enough of an angle. Okay, so there's our front. Well, the top. I think I thought something else was the top, and it was not the top, and it was upside down, and you know how these things go with me. I get very, very, what's the word? Confused, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so this is the actual top, and it's facing the right way. I'm on top of it this time. I've got a clue. And then this is, it says recipes on it. I like that. So that is the top of our box. I might put another row up there. I probably will put something really thin up there. That's the front, that's the top. And then this is the back. I put that in before thinking this was the top, but it was really the back. I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, I fixed the problem I had in the back. And I'm going to lay down, I'm putting a piece in the bottoms because I like the look of having kind of like, I guess I'll call it a border. I thought that really kind of set it off nicely. So I'm doing that on all four sides. And then here is this piece for this side. I want to make sure I get it as centered as I can and as straight as I can. That looks good. Happiness is homemade. Then the other side, I just have to put a little glue, take off this piece. Sorry, my head's in the shot, my arm's in the shot. Got everything in there. Apple pie without some cheese is like a kiss without a squeeze. Too cute. So now our sides are done, and all we have left is our back, and a little bit more on the top, I think. Okay, so I glued down this little recipe thing, and I put a magnet in it, so hopefully she'll be able to put her recipes in there, and the recipe will be held with the magnet. I don't know, it didn't seem like it was that strong, but then I put another magnet underneath the lady with the lady with her sewing, and that one holds Grandma's apple pie, so she can pull Grandma's apple pie in or out, but Grandma's apple pie will stay there permanently, just like that, if she wants it to. If she doesn't, she can pull it out, but Grandma's apple pie, like I said, will stay there. It's on a stronger magnet. It's pretty sturdy. So this is going to be the bottom, and it's actually the cardboard from the box. I thought it would make more sense to use that so that it was a really sturdy bottom. And I double-sided taped it, and I also used tacky glue so I could make sure that it was really well adhered. And I'm also going to put, I think, some feet on it so that it doesn't slide around, or else some of those felt squares. I haven't decided yet, but so that's our bottom, and like I said, it was the back. Here's the front cover of the pad, and there's the back cover, so I just cut it off the back cover. So that's the bottom. So now all I have left is one side, and no, not one side, the back. Haven't decided exactly what I want to do to that, but that's for our last part of the project. Okay, so this is the back. I put some glue on it. I had some issues with it being straight, so I had to take it off and re-straighten it, and so I glued it back down. So I'm hoping this time it is straighter than it was the last time. A little bit, still not a little straighter than I want it. That glue that I put underneath really does help you with that, trying to move things around a little bit. I mean, it's not a perfect solution, but it's better than gluing it down and having a big crisis on your hands. Okay, then I decided I was going to do these two stickers. This one says Farm Fresh. Jeez, I don't know how close I want to put it to the side. I'm going to try it right there. And right there. Okay. Okay, so let me go over where we are to date. I'm not sure if I showed you everything, but I put a couple of these, I fussy cutted out the two poppies that are on top, and I laid them up on a thin dimensional so that they're a little bit 3D looking. You probably can't see that, but that's what it is. And then I also did, I'm not sure if I showed you this, I cut out, again, I fussy cut this recipe that was in the paper pack, and I put a magnet in it, and then I put a magnet on the top so it lays there. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And then I fussy cut out this recipe, and I put a magnet inside that so that if she wants to, she can slide regular recipes in there and hold on to, you know, it'll hold them in place. So that's the top of our box. So I think the box itself is, ooh, got a little magnet jumping around there. I'll go over the box step by step so you can see it all. A little paper stuck to it right there. The side is the apple pie without some cheese is like a kiss without a squeeze. I thought that was sweet. Then on the back I put the two of these and the thing that says he rules the roost but I rule the rooster. I thought that was funny, and it came in the pack, so I fussy cut that. And I love Grandma. She looks a little grouchy, but I love how happiness is homemade and the little kids looking forward to the pie. Then of course you have the lady on the front. I think she's adorable. And then when you lift it up, I made it so that she's, you know, she completely fills the space. Then on the inside, on the top, I think you can see that I glued the different packets of seeds. They're not really packets of seeds, but it was in the paper. Then what I did is I made the inserts that would be for all the different categories you would have for your recipe cards. And here's how I did that. Okay, so the first thing I did was I went on my computer and I found a font that I liked, and then what I did was I printed it on a regular piece of paper. I didn't do anything other than printing it because what I wanted to see is where did it land on the paper. So then what I did is I laid my recipe card that I'd cut out in that spot, and now I know exactly where it's going to print. And then I taped it so that the tape would not be near where the printing was. Then I put it through my printer and out came the printed with the word vegetable. Then the next thing I did was this. I got another piece of paper the same size, and I put the tear tape on the back of it, and what I'm doing is I'm making these very sturdy if I can. And then I found this Scotch scrapbooker's glue. I really like this applicator on this. It's easy for me to use, and usually that's the big deal. When you have these finer tips, I just have trouble using them. And I'm only trying to put a little bit glue around the edges where I don't have the tape, and also in between the tape. But it really makes it, I don't know if you've ever done this before, if you ever try to lay things down that are glued together with tear tape and you just have tear tape, as soon as you lay it down it's hermetically sealed there forever. But if you put a little bit of wet glue in there, or a glue stick, I'm going to make sure that my vegetables on that side. If you make sure that you have that little wet glue in there, it almost makes it like, it gives you just a second or two to move it around. The problem I had is, I'm not sure, I was having like a delirious moment when I was cutting mine, because all of my cuts were not right. I don't know what was going on, but you know, like I thought all my paper was exactly the same cut, but it wasn't, weirdly enough. So then all I'm doing now is I'm going to clean up the unusual cuts that I have. The rest of this card's in pretty good shape. So then what I did, and this is the secret to why it was easier to do than I thought it would be, and that is I used my envelope punch board. Now I'm probably not going to be able to do this on video because I had to step on that button because I'm not strong enough to actually push it. But here's what I did. I lined it up with this middle point right here and the edge of my card, and then I punch, theoretically. And then I moved it to the other side and made sure the word vegetable was out of there, and then I punched again. So let me do that and I'll come right back. Okay, then the next thing you do after you punch that out, it makes it look like it's a tab. Then you have to cut the rest of the card to that point. Okay, pull that out, and then I have to trim off the excess. And then on this side, I kind of, if I had trouble making it look straight, then if I didn't have enough cut out, then I just kind of trimmed it. So I trimmed it with my scissors, with, you know, when I had a little issue with the edge. And then the very last thing I did is I took my sanding block and cleaned up the edges. Put a thing out on Split Coast Stampers that I was really hoping to find more of these blocks, and a lady sent me a note back and she said, "Oh, I have some blocks, I'll just send them to you." And I said, "Well, let me pay you for postage." "Oh no!" Oh, it was the sweetest thing. I just think that's so great when you find nice people like that in the world that are just willing to do something for you. So I sent her a little surprise package back in the mail because it was so sweet of her. Anyway, so that's how I did the recipe cards. Now all the recipe cards are done, and so then when she gets her, when she goes to the shower, if people want to put the recipe cards right in the box, they'll be able to do that because there's all the different categories. And I also made it so that there was an extra magnet inside here, because the magnet that was in there just didn't seem to be sturdy enough, so I put a second magnet in there. So if you want to see the entire box, I'll just go around it one more time. Front, oops, I'll do it this way a little bit. Side, side, side. Oh, and here's what I did to the bottom. I took the outside of the paper pack that has like a plastic coating on it, and I put it on the bottom so that it's more water resilient, or water, you know, the water should slough off of it a little bit versus regular paper. The very last thing I'm going to do is I bought a can of Aleene's acrylic sealer matte finish, and I'm going to spray it, and that should be the end of my project. I really hope my niece likes this. I hope that she is happy with it. I put a lot of work into it, but you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to like it. Anyway, I wanted you to see it. I wanted you to see the process. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Tell your friends about me on Pinterest and all the other social media that I'm not into, but I really appreciate your help with that. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.